Who's behind Australia's censorship industrial complex? It's a question asked by our next guest, Rebecca Weisser. Rebecca, welcome to Spectator TV.
Always a pleasure, Alexandra.
Now, you and I have been on social media for a while, and it became obvious during what I'm now referring to as the age of COVID that we were being censored by Twitter and Facebook. Now, whether that was shadow banning or warnings and restrictions added to posts or outright account suspensions, Big Brother always seemed to be watching us. I get that they use these algorithms to stalk our speech, but what used to fascinate me, Rebecca, was how these wokelings in Silicon Valley managed to crack down on Australian memes criticising political figures like Daniel Andrews. It's almost as if they had a backdoor into our censorship. Now, it turns out that that might actually be true. Rebecca, take us through what you've discovered.
Well, I have to give due credit to Liberal Senator Alex Antic, who is on the backbench and really has done a wonderful job, in this case through a Freedom of Information request, and discovered that the government has actually been engaged in hunting down hunting down social media posts, and if they didn't comply with government policy or with, or weren't with the WHO policy, they were flagged, and then an approach was made to the tech platform that hosted them that they didn't in fact comply with the community standards. This was usually the grounds given was some sort of misinformation, and the posts were taken down.
Well, just to be clear, the sort of posts that they took down were not what you would consider to be dangerous posts. They were things like Dan Andrews, a photograph of him wearing a mask, and then on the mask it said, "I am as useless as this mask." And for some reason, the government thought that this was a danger to society to have these posts up. And good on Alex Antic for following this through. He has been one of the unshakable voices of the liberty movement. And I say liberty by what used to be a dearly held Australian value. Now, Rebecca, what bothered me is that these 4,213 posts were removed upon the request of the Extremism, Insights and Communications branch of the Social Cohesion Unit of the Department of Home Affairs. That sounds like it's over the top.
Yes, it's extraordinary. This legislation was passed to target extreme, violent and online material. And I think it was directly related to the horrific massacre that occurred in Christchurch in New Zealand, where an Australian citizen attached a camera to a sort of headpiece and murdered people in mosques and filmed the whole thing, and it was a sort of live stream of it on, I think, Facebook, which was for 17 minutes. It was absolutely horrific. And this legislation, I understand, was conceived to respond to that. Now, from that to having people the posts that I saw, that whistleblower passed these to me to show me a log that was kept by the government. Now, the work was actually outsourced, but this log was then given to the government to sort of check it all, I understand. And it showed that the sort of posts that were being removed either criticised masks, said that masks were ineffective to block respiratory transmission. That's actually a fact. It was well-known and well-established fact before COVID came along. That's why doctors have never advocated that you wear masks to try and stop getting the flu, for example. But these posts criticised the ineffectiveness of masks and protested against mask mandates, also against the vaccines. One that I saw, apparently the post said that these vaccines will kill. Well, we know that now. That is a fact. But it was always clear that, there were incredible risks involved. Others were about the importance of informed consent. And most of them, it was said, oh, well, will undermine, government's vaccine program or undermine government policy. And that was reason enough then to request and seemingly for social media to pull these posts down.